Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back to the show. Great to have you along. And I'm delighted to be speaking with Bill Banham today. Bill is a fascinating guy. Bill is the editor of the amazing HR Gazette. He's also the host of the HRchat Podcast and is the co-organizer of Disrupt events across the UK and Ireland. Fascinating guy doing so many cool things in the world of HR. But firstly, Bill, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks very much for having me, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, good to have this chat. You're a fascinating guy because you sit at the intersection of HR media, community, events, and HR tech, and you work daily with consultants and founders and vendors and people in the HR profession itself. And you're helping people grow credible, sustainable HR businesses and HR functions in a very crowded space. One of the key elements of all of that is the Disrupt event or events that you help run, and not just in one location, but at various locations. But to pull it back one step, can you explain to the listeners, what is Disrupt?
Absolutely. So thanks again for having me on the show. I am Bill. My favorite color is yellow, and my secret superpower is that I can play the didgeridoo.
Wow.
So which
Makes
I'm
two
sure
of us. All right.
Oh, there we go. We should have a jam session. One of the things I get up to, as Ben mentioned there, is organizing a bunch of these Disrupt events. So Disrupt was started in 2013 in Cincinnati. I'm sure many of our listeners will be familiar with the face of the Disrupt brand. That's Jennifer McClure. The idea was, it was a one-off event, but it was so popular that people said we need to do more of these in more places. And my understanding is there have been 170 plus cities around the world that have hosted Disrupt events now. It's particularly strong in North America, Europe, but also there are events happening in Africa, Asia, Oceania, and elsewhere. So the format is lots of networking. When I'm involved, there are dad jokes in the intros, and then typically somewhere between 8 and 14 speakers. The strict format is 14 speakers, but it kind of depends on the unique chapters and how they want to run with it. Each of the talks are 5 minutes, 20 slides, 15 seconds per slide. And certainly with the chapters that I'm involved with, which include London, Manchester, Cambridge, Milton Keynes, Buffalo, New York, and of course, very happy to say Dublin. We are a little bit mean. We do automate those slides, so there's no escape for our victims. I mean, speakers when they're up on stage. And in terms of what they're talking about, it depends. Sometimes there's a particular theme for a Disrupt, but very often it's the umbrella of the world of work. So it could be DEI, company culture, leadership, employment law, recruitment, HR tech, you name it. If it's related to the world of work, it's fun. It's pretty cash. Generally, I wear my jeans when I'm hosting, but maybe I'll brush my hair and not wear a cap like I am today. It's different to some of the other HR focused events, which, let's be honest, can be a bit stuffy. This is a nice community of people who are pretty chill and have a good time.
That's so good. I was at a conference just a few weeks ago, an in-person thing, and it was a big event, lots and lots of people. And I went to the talk. To be honest, I found it pretty boring because you had people up there for 20 minutes, slides and pontificating and so on. And I have been a guest or an attendee as well as a speaker at a Disrupt event, and it's just so different. And so for people listening to this, you mentioned that there's a format, the 5-minute slide, 5-minute presentation where the slides are moving automatically, forget every 15 seconds. Is that right?
Every 15 seconds. Yep.
Every 15 seconds. So for people listening, that's a very different type of speech. And I kind of liken it to those Japanese poems, haikus or something, that you have to think so carefully about what you want to say, how you're going to say it, how it's going to flow to fit that format. Like, it really shapes your thinking. Would you agree with that?
I would. I think it's a pretty unique challenge. And frankly, it takes a lot of rehearsal to get it right. But the feeling you get when it does go right is fantastic.
Yeah.
I've had folks who've come to me before doing a talk very nervous. I've had very senior C-level folks at large organizations who've said to me before, Bill, I present multiple times a day around the world, and I haven't been this nervous before a talk. But it's fun, and certainly with the events that I'm involved with, we always preface it during the intros by saying it ain't about getting it right. It's about taking up the challenge. And Disrupt is about two things. It's about, and we have a nice little light bulb, and we have a love heart. It's about inspiration, and it's about love. So the inspiration is going to come from what you see on stage today. The love comes from you, the audience, in terms of supporting these people, because they are taking up quite a unique challenge. And by the way, all the talks are recorded. The website, I believe Jennifer told me when I most recently interviewed her on the HR Chat Pod, is at over 10,000 videos now from these 170 plus cities. So that's a nice bonus for folks who come up on stage. That goes on the Disrupt website, which gets all those lovely views because of all these fantastic videos.
And that site gets a lot of traffic, I recall.
It certainly does. Yeah, my understanding is it's tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of views for that website.
Fantastic. Yeah. And then on the format thing, the 5-minute moving slide thing, for me, there are two special outcomes from that. One is people may not be aware of it, but the speakers bond. Like, you do not get that anywhere else. We've got people giving their big long speeches, and maybe there's a green room or something like that, and it's hello, how are you? Yeah, nice to meet you. But with the speakers, because it's such an intense, different format, I find, and you can be a little nerve-wracking. I gave one and I felt that, but you certainly bond with the other speakers because you're all in it together. And then once it's done, it's not backslapping and high-fiving, but there's a connection. And I still keep in touch with people I was co-presenting with or speaking with at the same event, at the London one that I attended. So do you see that? Because you organize multiple events for Disrupt. Do you notice that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I always try and explain the events that I'm involved with as being a community. And as part of being a community, hopefully you make friends along the way, those people, I joked and described them as victims earlier. Those folks who are brave enough to come up on stage and give it a go. It is that unique challenge. And because of that, there is a shared experience between the speakers. I think there becomes a bit of camaraderie, and it's nice to hear your example just now that you still keep in contact with folks that you were up on stage with.
Definitely. Yeah. And I said that there were two things. So one is the speakers bond and connect and so on. But secondly, I think that the audience senses the work, the thinking that's gone into the presentation, and maybe the nervousness almost of the speakers. And so there's an energy. It kind of crackles far more than any big conference where you're sitting in huge rows and just waiting for some slide presentation. So I find that the audience is far more engaged, which was really, really interesting, which of course then flows into the networking, both at the breaks and then at the end itself, when you've got that sort of post-event networking after it. Do you find that, especially with the people, speakers and the audience, the networking element is strong?
Yes, absolutely. I would describe Disrupt events as networking events with amazing, unique types of content. And again, I can only talk for the chapters that I'm involved with, but we try and have cool people there, and cool people naturally will have nice conversations and get to know each other and become friends.
Yeah, definitely. And I note that some people speak more than once, so they obviously enjoy it so much. But speaking of cool people, there are several or many cool speakers at the new Disrupt Dublin. So can you tell us that we're relaunching the Dublin chapter? Can you give us an overview of what attendees can expect? Where's it being held, and the format, the speakers involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So the venue let me just back up and say, super excited to be working with you and with Ivan to relaunch Disrupt in Dublin. It's been a long time. So there hasn't been an event in Dublin since before the pandemic. So the last one, I believe, was towards the end of 2019. So it's been way too long. This event is on February 26th. And it's at the Personio office. So Personio are our amazing venue partners. Thank you very much, Personio, if you're listening to this. It's a beautiful space in the center of Dublin. this particular event is going to be an evening event. You and I and a bunch of the speakers are going to go for a lunch before things get going at 5 o'clock at the Personio office. The first hour or so will be networking, and then we'll be getting into intros, maybe hearing from a couple of partners before we then have in the region of about a dozen of those 5-minute lightning talks, as we call them. And we've got a really good lineup. I'm sure we'll get to that in just a moment, but super happy so far with the lineup that we've got.
Yeah. And some of the organizations look amazing. So you've got Google, and this is so embarrassing, Bill, and to my listeners, and my son goes to an Irish speaking school, but I can't pronounce Enrod Aaron, which is the Irish Rail network. So from there, we've got the Royal College of Surgeons, of course. So many great speakers and organizations, and you'll be getting up hopefully to say a few words as editor of the HR Gazette and host of the HRchat Podcast. Is that true?
It is. So I'm sure I'll be up during the intros. I need to work on a new dad joke as part of my intros. Certainly around the UK and in the US, everybody's heard enough of my peanut joke, so I've got to find a different one.
Wow.
I'm also I'm a reserve as a speaker if you and Ivan need me on the day to do one of the disrupt talks. But yeah, we've got some really cool speakers. If you don't mind, I'll just sort of run through some of the folks that we do have. So you and I have been super busy this week, and Ivan, in terms of promoting the event. We only launched the event as we record this week, and we've already managed to achieve a really cool lineup, so I'm super happy with it. So speakers include Kelsey Cates, who is a really well-known speaker. She also happens to be the global head of learning experience over at Google. Elizabeth Buckley, who's the HR director at Forbes Mazars. John Kennedy. John and I had a chat just a couple of days ago. Lovely chap. As you mentioned, he's with Irish Rail. He's also the vice chair with CIPD Ireland National Committee. Dr. Mary Collins, who is a chartered psychologist over at the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. Simon Peter Haig, he's the founder and CEO of GCM Growth Group. Simon was actually a speaker at our first event in London that I was involved with. So that was the London equivalent of what we're doing on February 26th. It was the relaunch. That was at the Royal Institute back in, I think it was July 2022, something like that. He's brilliant. He's fantastic at spreading the word, and he's a fantastic presenter. So super excited that he's involved again. Yvonne Kearney, only confirmed her last night as we record this. So she's the Defence Forces Coaching and Mentoring Program Manager over at the Irish Defence Forces, it's looking like a pretty good lineup so far.
Nice. That's so good. I know I need to let you go shortly, but in terms of topics or things that would be covered, there's so much. What do you expect? What do you sort of see coming in terms of the areas that speakers will be addressing?
Disruption, my friend. Disruption. Let's hope so. Let's hope that some of the talks make us laugh. Some of the talks make us cry. Some of the talks make us think. Some of the talks make us reflect. That's the nature of what we're doing here. But the talks have got to be 5 minutes, so it's just a little teaser, just a little taster to excite us and get us going. And in terms of what the topics will be, we've got a wide variety from leadership, wellness, DEI, company culture, and a whole bunch more.
Nice. So good. So can you call out the details, or where can people learn more about the event for Disrupt Dublin?
100%. So there is a LinkedIn page, Disrupt Dublin. So there you can, if you search for Disrupt Dublin, you'll find that LinkedIn page. On that page is an event where you can click RSVP, and then there's the link to the Eventbrite where you can sign up there. Please do both. Don't just RSVP. We need you to sign up through Eventbrite, or just do a search on Eventbrite and you'll find Disrupt Dublin there. And I'm sure we'll be all over other socials as well.
Nice. Very good. And lastly, before I let you go, you do so much. You got the podcasts, you've got the media and so on. Do you want to just give us a super short summary of you, your business, and how people can learn more about you?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So I've been in the world of HR media for way too long, since before I went grey. I got into this world when I was the editor of HR Review many, many years ago. And then I worked for an HR tech company over in Toronto, where I lived for over a decade. I'm also a proud Canadian, best country in the world, in my opinion. Started the Gazette and the HRchat podcast over there in the mid-teens. The HR Chat show is now, they tell me, top 3 in the world for HR tech based on downloads and engagement levels and whatnot. So that's cool. And then top 10 in other categories such as HR and talent management and whatnot. So that's nice. Part of that is we've released, over 850 episodes, hundreds of thousands of downloads with that. We've had folks on like Dable Rich and Josh Burson. So that's nice. Part of my job is that I get to listen and learn. So I enjoy that. Get up to producing different events in the UK, now in Ireland, also in Canada and the US. That's fun. Work with a few different tech companies and publications and whatnot too. And then when I'm not doing all that sort of stuff, I've got a couple of awesome dogs and a couple of young kids who keep me busy. Oh, and sorry, in terms of contact, please connect with me on LinkedIn. So it's Bill Banham, Banham. Or if you want to shoot me an email, you can do that at bbanham@hr-gazette.com.
Excellent. Very good. So if listening to this on the go, check the show notes. We'll have all that stuff. We'll have all the details for the Disrupt Dublin, the dates, times, how to get your ticket, and then also all the details for Bill, HRchat Podcast, and so on. But Bill, thank you very much. I'm really excited about the event. A, because it's going to be just a lot of fun, but B, you're going to learn a lot and get the thinking muscles moving, and I'm delighted to be doing it with you. So thank you very much for sharing the event with me today.
Me too, Ben. One of the things I'm most excited about for the Dublin chapter is getting a chance to work with you, buddy. You and I have known each other for a number of years now. It was great to get you involved with the London event we did a couple of years ago at Holt International Business School. And this is just a way that you and I get to know each other a bit better and get to build something together. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Great. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.